of economic empowerment. We're also going to have a conversation about creating support for victims. And hopefully, we will have a media expert come talk to us about the power of media. What a power-packed night we have. It seems to be getting better by the day. I have a lot of feedback, coming in from all over. People are just in awe of what we've been doing over the last few days. I really didn't see this at the capacity which it is right now. I wanted to lend my voice to 16 days of activism, but I had no idea it was going to really spark a lot of conversations, and every expert I've had since Monday is saying to me, can we do this again, can we talk about this some more? So I'm excited to have you all here. It's a power packed day, and I think the first person that will lead this conversation will be Mrs. Monisola. I recently met Mrs. Monisola at an IDP camp in Durham. Someone had recommended her school for us to go have a boot camp for girls, a leadership boot camp. And I was fascinated when she started telling me her story. We didn't go into the depths of it, but I just grabbed enough to know that she was a single mom who had left a domestic abuse relationship in another state. And she had a school in that state. And so she came to Abuja with 5 children. And what was powerful was the fact that she had taken her pain, and she had, regardless, found a way out. And I mean, now she's offering support for children who have been displaced. This is what I mean when I say your story is a gift. And I don't even want to preempt her. I want her to just, in about 5 minutes, just lay the foundation of, just a brief about what happened and what led you to move to Abuja. And instead of staying in that place of anger, bitterness, frustration, you decided to, start the foundation that you have today. So the stage is yours. Please unmute yourself, and I'm just going to spotlight you. So yeah, there you go.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so excited to be here tonight. It's an opportunity and a privilege to share my story because I believe that it will help to encourage someone out there. Well, I suffered 10 years of abuse, 10 years of domestic violence. It was actually tough because, in quote, I would say I was a good girl. I was a good girl who had never dated anyone. And somehow, the first man I dated is the first man I married. And along the way, I discovered that I made the wrong choice. But I didn't let that put me down. So during that period, from the very first year of our marriage, I discovered that I was married to someone who I didn't know was suffering from narcissistic personality disorder. I didn't get to understand that until 10 years later, when I met somebody on Facebook who told me some traits of narcissistic personality disorder, and I discovered that those were the traits I saw in the man I was married to. So I experienced all form of abuse. I can say psychological, emotional, financial. There were all sorts of abuse, ranging from being raped in marriage. I'll be raped. It will have sex with me such that I'm sorry that I'm using these words, but I just have to be real so that someone out there going through this experience, we know that they are not alone. There's someone who has gone through it and is striving despite the pain and challenges. And so most times in pregnancy, I will have to spot throughout the period of pregnancy because I was constantly being forced. I was constantly locked out of my house. This was someone who I married who had nothing, but we built together. We bought properties, we built houses. I built a school that was thriving for over 7 years. And, I never understood what it was, but I just knew that my family kept saying, it's time to come out. And I was like, I believe in marriage so much that it's for eternity. I wasn't that girl who wanted to, come out of marriage and then begin to go from one man to another. So to me, what my parents were telling me at that time was wrong. So I chose to stay. I chose to live in abuse. A lot of persons were saying, you will die here. But I was like, no, I'm not ready. I won't die here. I will make it work. But it kept lingering It kept lingering. Sometimes I'll be locked out and then I have to sleep outside the house. But there was something that actually happened before COVID. That was in 2018. I was pregnant for my twins. A lot of things have happened before then that I might not really have the time to say, but if I'm opportune, I'll be glad to share. But that then I was pregnant for my twins. I didn't know I was carrying twin babies. I was pregnant, it was 7 months. I was not interested in doing any scan or just I wasn't just interested in the pregnancy because to me at that point in time, but those children are a bundle of joy to me today, and I'm glad that I
Mm.
have them. But at that point in time, it was like, what am I living for? There was no essence to life. I didn't feel that I had any reason to live anymore. So I wasn't just interested in the pregnancy. I had three girls before then. Sometimes I would think, is it because I didn't have a male child? But at the same time, I knew that it was beyond having whether a male or a female child. There was just something wrong I couldn't place. And so at 7 months, I discovered that there was a need to go for antenatal. Just imagine at 7 months, I had not started any antenatal because I didn't have any will to live anymore. I just felt like the life should just end. But there were people talking to me. Some were saying, stay, particularly the church. The church was saying, stay. What would the people say? I was a minister in church. My husband was a minister in church. So everybody was saying, what would the people say? My parents were saying, come out. But I didn't understand what they meant. I was like, is it that they don't want my marriage to work? So I was in between two places. I was either going to come out or going to stay, or I was going to die there. But in 2018, when that happened, I discovered that he also isolated me from everyone, isolated me from family, isolated me from friends. He decided who I should speak to and who I shouldn't speak to. My career had to stop also. I wasn't progressive career wise. A lot of things were actually going wrong. I knew something was wrong, but then I couldn't place it. I didn't know the way out. I was so confused. And then in 2018, I sneaked to fellowship. I usually attend when women pray at that time, and he has stopped me from attending any form of religious gathering. So I sneaked. He came to my school and asked my staffs that where was I? They feigned ignorance, like they didn't know where I went to, but they all knew because everybody knew. He embarrasses me outside. We can be driving, he will just park and drag me out of the car and drive off. The abuse was obvious. The church knew I was suffering from abuse, but no one could say leave. Everybody just encouraged me to just keep managing, keep patching. Eventually, I had to take the bull by the horn and make that decision by myself. I usually tell people that experience abuse that until you decide to leave, no one can talk you to leave. It doesn't matter how much
Mm.
support you get. Until you make up your mind that it's time, nobody will be able to help you. And so I
Wow.
went to fellowship that day. He trailed me to fellowship, embarrassed me. Everybody just knew that I was married to someone that, let me just say in quotes, that understands. I don't want to use a negative word. You know,
I get that.
and
I
I,
get
I
that.
got back. I got back home immediately. I was so afraid because I was so scared of him. He was someone that if he's coming, everyone, including my little children that were babies at that time, would just immediately adjust like a monster was coming in. And
Mm.
so I got back home. I discovered that he has changed the locks, all the locks, the main gate, the burglary, and I saw my children at the entrance. They were three at that time, and I was like, "Please open the door." They said, "Daddy has locked the door and he has changed the keys." I thought of scaling the fence, but I also thought that I was pregnant. Is this the way I was going to die? I just said, "Let me stay." I kept calling and pleading, calling and pleading. He didn't respond, and then I had to go back to school. My school was just a stone throw from the house. So I decided to stay in the school. I called and called, pleaded and pleaded, said I wasn't going to go to fellowship again. I was going to obey as a good wife. But unfortunately, it turned deaf ears to me. And then I had to sleep in the school on an interlocked ground with a 7 month pregnancy. And
For
then,
twins. You were pregnant with twins.
yeah, I
So
was pregnant with twins.
that's not even a regular pregnancy because if it's one, we can understand the size. There were two babies in your womb. You were
I
7 months
already had
pregnant.
preeclampsia. I had swollen legs. I had pregnancy-induced hypertension. So though I knew all those were coming because I wasn't
You were
myself,
not
I was already,
okay. Mm.
yes. So it was already a threatened pregnancy, and he was aware. And so I actually slept in the school at 2 a.m. he called and said, start coming home. I was like, I agreed to come home, but on one condition, come and pick me. He said, what's the distance between the school and the house? I said, at 2 a.m. I can't come. If he insists that I come home, come and pick me, he refused to come and pick me. And I slept in school till the morning. And when it was morning, everybody in school already knows because I was wearing the same cloth I wore yesterday. So my staffs already knew that something was wrong. Though I woke up very early to pretend like nothing was wrong, but everybody knew. It was written all over me. I was a depressed woman. I was a dejected one. I was never happy. You know, even when I tried to feign happiness, people saw it. It was clearly written that something was wrong. As I usually tell people that when I see someone in abuse from afar, I can easily spot it because it's something that I've been through. And so I immediately went to my pastor. At that time, I don't want to mention the church I was attending, but I was
Yeah,
at
please.
a church at that time where I would say they were encouraging domestic violence, not because they encourage it, they were encouraging it verbally, but the attitude that they were displaying at that time showed that they were actually enabling domestic violence. And so I spoke to my pastor. The first thing he said, you're a minister, your husband is a minister. What will people say? This and that. I had to go back home. Like nothing
Okay,
happened.
I'm going to pause you here because
Okay. Eh,
I mean, you've said so much, and I really allowed you because I didn't even have the full details. I see
okay.
you today, but I think it's even more heartbreaking, now knowing the details of what you went through and to see where you are today, now being a source of light and hope to people who have been, dejected and rejected. So for those who are just joining us, especially on YouTube, this is Mrs. Monisola. We met recently at your foundation is called Bethabel Foundation. Exactly. She runs a school at the IDP camp in Durumi. And while in a conversation, she shared a little bit about her story. I just want to, first of all, say you are a warrior. You are a warrior because you don't even look like what you just described. And I know you didn't even scratch the surface. I'm going to come back to you. I
Okay.
want to have Enifome come in because Enifome has had a similar experience as well. And hers is so powerful because she also made a couple of decisions, and her foundation, which is called Live Again, was born out of her own experience. Tonight, I mean, everyone watching live or on the replay, you are in for a treat because all week we've had different experts come talk about the role of faith-based organizations. We've heard from the men, we've heard from experts yesterday. We had mental health, we had parenting coach, we had an educator. Today, we are hearing from women who have actually lived, survived another day to tell their story. So I'm going to bring Anifome in a second, and I'm going to come back to you very shortly, Mrs. Monisola. Anifome, you are on stage. Your journey. I mean, recently you were in, should I spill? I mean, it was all over the internet. You literally broke the internet. You traveled. I mean, I followed your journey. You had the opportunity recently to be, what was the name of where were you? The country?
Doha, Qatar.
Doha, Qatar. You were in Qatar. It was just like Turkey was all over my head, but I knew it wasn't Turkey. You were in Doha, Qatar, and I know you had an opportunity to share your story internationally. And when you look at it right now, when you were in that situation and where you are today, just glowing and glamming up the screen, come on, tell me what what has shifted in your journey, because someone's watching and they're probably currently in an abusive relationship, and you don't even look like you just dropped from, I don't know, a five-star hotel. You just traveled first class into Nigeria, you know with your designer bag, everything on point. You don't look like anything abused. Tell us about
Mm.
that journey and what led you to Live Again, starting the Live Again Foundation.
Thank you so much. And I just want to send love to Monisola. That was really, I don't know, it was so emotional because I could relate to everything she was saying. And thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for having me. It means so much to me. For every woman listening that is going through abuse, just know that we love you and just know that you're not alone. So basically, like Monisola said, is it Monisola or Mojisola? I don't want to miss it.
It's Moni Sola.
Monisola.
Yes, it's
Money,
Moni
okay,
Sola.
so I'm correct. Yes. So she said you have to decide because when I work with women, a lot of times I find different categories of women, those who are yet to decide, those who have decided, those who decide and go back on their decision. So we have
Right.
a number of women, but it's not always easy to just get up and go. And I always tell people that you don't get married with the intention that if it doesn't work out, I'm leaving, I'm going, bye. No, except you never really truly cared about the person. So it's not always easy.
Right.
And because of the whole
Mhm.
programming of your mind and the whole abuse thing programs you negatively. So it's like you're in a cocoon and it's very difficult for you to see yourself when you're in the frame. So for me,
Right.
I actually decided that, you know what, this has to end and I want more out of my life. I don't have control over this abuser, but I have control over myself. I would choose to allow this if I want to. And I feel like
Mm.
there's more to me. So from there, that's when I began to really desire more. And every action I took, I don't know what's wrong with my lighting, I apologize.
No,
Every
it's
action I
okay.
took after that time was because I knew that there was more to me and I
Mm.
took action after I realized that, you know what, there is more. This can't be the end of me. It can't just be that I'll go through abuse and die in this thing. And so when I now decided and when I came out of it and when I started working on myself, my mind, I began to see other women going through the same thing. I began to see that I'm not the only person that was going through this thing because people began to gravitate towards me that were in the same situation. And so as I began to heal and, live again, I began to help other women. And I didn't even know I was living again until I heard the word live again for the first time when I was having an intimate encounter with God. And that's really what began the whole live again work that I'm doing with women. Everything started from that encounter. But I've been, helping victims of abuse just because I know what it feels like. I know how it is. I know the whole stigma, everything that has to do with it. It's a lot. Like Munisola was saying, her church said you're a minister, why do you want to leave? And so people are dealing with all of these things. But my journey to living again started when I realized that, look, there has to be more out of my life. God cannot just create me to come and go through this thing and go. And then every other
Mm.
thing happened from there, just seeking the face of the Lord, secluding myself, going on a retreat, and, dealing with all the mind issues because my mind was messed up. My mind was in a
Mm.
mess. I had to do a lot of mind renewal with the word of God, affirmation, self talk. Of course, I
Mm.
invested in myself, knowledge, and everything. I told myself,
Mm.
I'm going to grow. I'm going to grow through this because there's something that made me attract this abuser in the first place. Why did
Mm.
I attract an abuser of all the men in the world? Why an abuser? Why a
Mm.
narcissist? Why this person? There must be something. There must be a way that I contributed to this because for you to begin to heal, you have to sit with yourself and find how did I, in any way, was I responsible for this? Because you tolerating the abuse is one way that you're responsible for it. Because the first time he
Mm.
tried it, you had told him, no, not here, he wouldn't have
Mm.
done it again. But many times,
Mm.
it's this self-worth thing where you look down on yourself, you have low self-esteem. So even though I was looking good on the outside, I didn't know that I had all those issues and your childhood trauma, all those things made it happen. So that's why I really started this work in helping women live again, because many women just abandon their pain and just endure abuse and tell them,
Mm.
Africa, they train us to be strong. And interestingly,
Mm.
I was
Mm.
watching this. I saw a news of a popular Nollywood movie director that got married to an actress and relocated. I do by now you should know the person, but anyway, his wife came online and was saying that they took her child away from her, and that she did not talk because her parents trained her to be strong and endure. And I was like, these are the issues. She didn't say
Mm.
anything. until the child was like how many years, and she know. And I'm like, these are the issues where they tell you that you have to be strong, you have to endure these things, it's part of it. Your parents endured it and nothing happened to them.
Mm,
No, something happened to them because I had no business going through abuse if my mother did not go through it. My mother went
mm.
through it, and because she was also being strong and being, it was
Wow.
kept aside. I witnessed it as a child, and even though I was saying it can never be me, well, breaking news, it's not about saying it can never be me. What are you actively doing to ensure that it is not
Mm.
you and it doesn't
What are
affect
you
those after you?
actively
So
doing?
that's where
This
Live
is
Again comes in,
this
through
is
the
this
inner
is
work of
profound.
cleansing and all. Yeah.
This is profound. Thank you so much, Anifome. I'm going to join you on stage because you just said something which has been part of what we've been discussing all week. Trying to
Mm.
find myself. One second. Something we've been discussing all week. Oh, there I am. Okay. Something we've been discussing all week, and that is how this can be such a vicious cycle if we are not intentional about breaking the generational cycle. You said something so profound. I remember yesterday, um, mental health coach DT Adedotu mentioned how she had a client who she was working with, and she kept crying. And she said so many women she's worked with, to a large extent, blamed their mothers, and you are saying you had no business going through abuse, if your mother probably handled it better. So she stayed there being the strong woman that we've all been taught to be, and then it happened to you. I'm so proud of the work you're doing. We're going to come back because I need you to share some very practical things, women can begin to do, even while they're in the situation or when they've come out, because you have those who are still in it, you have those who come out and then they feel like there's nothing for me out there. There's nothing, like my life is over. My marriage is over, so that means my life is over. And your message is clear. You can leave again. Right about now, I'm going to bring up Ambassador. Ambassador is our media our media mogul. I'm gonna I'm gonna bring her up. I'm gonna bring her up. Ambassador is the way I call her. Ambassador.
Hello.
I mean, you just recently got awarded. Please, what was that award again at the Global Entrepreneurship Festival? Please, please,
Festival.
please
Yeah, it
tell
was
us. Tell
for
us.
the Female Entrepreneur of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Drum
well,
roll.
honestly, I don't know how they found me, but they did. And okay, so it's important to also know that it was a collection of, I think, up to 10 women that they considered were doing good. So no, I wasn't the only person who was awarded in that category, but they
Yeah,
had a couple
but
of
still,
people who
take
had
your
been nominated.
flowers.
I do
Take
with
your
my
flowers.
protest,
Take your
with my
flowers.
protest. And
Thank
I'm
you
very
so
grateful for
much.
it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. I know you just got
Anything.
back and you've had
No,
a
yes.
full week, but you're
Yes.
here. So I'm
Yeah.
grateful. I don't take that for granted.
Thank
All our
you.
speakers, I mean, I'm so honored that you've all said yes, because this week's conversation has been such a big eye opener. We've had so many people reach out to say we need more of this. We're breaking the shame. We're breaking the
Right.
silence. And this is where you come in, as a media personality and actress, the founder of multiple media
TLP.
productions.
Yes. That's the life
I
Pathfinder
I
Media.
need I need to I need to know, because the last 3 days there's also been multiple fingers at the content we're consuming, what what the narrative out there is saying.
Right.
How relevant is media when it comes to addressing the issue of domestic violence, especially against women? Because, yes, we know that men are also being abused, but this week and for the rest of the month into
Yeah.
December 10th,
Mm.
this is 16 days of activism,
Yeah.
preventing violence against women and girls. So our focus for this conversation is women and girls. What role is media playing in all of this, negatively and otherwise?
So the truth is, you know how it is when they say society shapes everything that we do? The media is now society. It is now
Someone
society.
said
It
the media is
shapes
now the village.
it
Yesterday,
is.
someone
It's the
said it's
community.
now the village.
Exactly.
Wow.
It determines how the outlook we have on life to a great extent, whether consciously or unconsciously or subconsciously. It is for all of us, it is changing something on a daily. The more you consume, the more you become. It doesn't matter, no matter how little it
The
is
more
making a
you
difference.
consume, that's so
The more you
powerful.
become. Yes. And this is beyond. I remember I used to see someone who had a shirt where I think it was a cow and some flowers, and it was written, "You are what you eat." And it's literally what we consume. I mean, we are formed by words. We know this. The scriptures say it. The power of life and death lies in the tongue, yes. But aside what we speak, it's also what we take in. And I'm just laying this foundation because it is generally what, take it or leave it, makes us, what we consume through the ears, through the eyes. And of course, what our mouth begins to speak.
Right.
The product of what we've taken in. It is the same way that it goes over to the fight, in quote, against domestic violence or standing against domestic violence, and how the internet can affect, or the media affects all of us here are on the internet. All of us on this Zoom call. Everybody who's going to be watching this YouTube.
Everyone watching right now.
Everybody watching now, everybody who's going to watch eventually. We
We're on
have
the streets.
access to the internet. I was looking at this and the numbers, right? And you have somewhere around 8 billion people in the world. You have 5.52 billion people on the internet. Hello? So that just shows you the power of what the media is. I was watching a very interesting movie yesterday, and I think this is very practical for what we're speaking about. Funny, I just watched it today. I'm like, oh, that's so, it relates.
So apt.
Yes, it's a movie. It's called Ordinary Angels on Netflix. And for one of those only times that I get to sit down and watch something, I watched it. And at the end of it, so it's a story of a little girl who had a liver disease. Now, God sends this ordinary woman who is dealing with her own struggles through life to become a part of their life. She was trying to raise money because her family didn't have money to get the little 5-year-old, I think it was, to have a liver transplant. She took it to TV, invited a certain TV station. This is a true life story. It was just made into a movie. It happened somewhere in the 90s.
I'll go check it out.
Yes, Ordinary Angels.
I'll check it out.
And for me, what it did to me was, it just made me know how important it is, my role in all of this. Because I just kept saying, Ambassador, what can you do to make life better? But let me finish the story. So she invited, because she had tried to do fundraising, she had a salon, put a jar, people come, just, as much as she could. She decided, you know what, let's take it to the media. And then she called this media station, this media house, and they came, they interviewed the girl. So eventually they put it out. And then after a couple of months, because she was on the list for a donor, she got to the number one on that list, but it had to be in a children's hospital in another city. Now, it was during snow. It was in January. And so you had snowstorms and all the roads had been blocked. They had 6 hours to get her to the other city and the children's hospital. If not, she would have lost that donor. She would have lost that liver and the transplant. And she was a few weeks to death.
Wow.
Here's what this lady did. She called up the station and they put it on TV live to say, that other girl, you remember the story of that girl? We need a helicopter to get her to this other city because there's limited time, because nobody could move. We don't know where to land. So somebody called back to say, I've got a helicopter. All I need is where to land. TV, media. True life story. All I need is where to land. Somebody hears it. Their church, their pastor, He says, oh, they can, he calls the TV station, says, you can land at the church premises. Then they say, oh, we need people to shovel because snow. The whole community came out.
My God.
I cried. Look.
Media.
I don't have
the
tears.
Power of media.
The whole community came out to shovel. Then, of course, the helicopter came. They couldn't land. Oh, okay, I can't really see. Everybody turned on their light. Oh, we can turn on the light. Community. Now, my point is they stood for a cause. How? Because media. Because there was one channel where everybody could be fed. And fed positively.
That's the word.
So yes, and it means that if it is negative, it will still have its impact.
Absolutely. Even more. Somehow. Even more. Negative news spreads faster.
Yes, exactly. So it's the same thing with the power. It just goes to show the power of media.
So Ambassador, that is such a beautiful story that really depicts, the power and the influence of media. So bring it home for us. Are we doing enough? Are we doing enough? And what can we do better?
There's a lot more to be done. So interestingly, I have a movie premiere on Saturday for a movie that I was in. Yeah.
I see you. I saw the trailer.
It was a short film about, it's actually in line with the 16 Days of Activism.
Yeah, Voices Within.
You got it. That's it.
I'm moderating. I'm actually moderating that day.
See you then.
See you there.
And this is by the Dorama Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, one thing I told them is I see it's a delight to see how you're integrating film. There are different ways to reach out to people. Entertainment is one strong way to reach out to people, aside of course just being newsy. So there are other channels where podcasts are all over the place right now. And we're jumping on them, the negative and the positive ones. We seem to even enjoy the negative ones more. But the truth is, like I said, as we consume, we become. The more we put it out, it's like Temu. Has anybody seen Temu of late? Have you seen Temu? Do you know Temu? Temu is a certain shop, online shopping something. If you have been going through your phone, there is no way. I'm sure you've just been busy, Naomi. Anybody who has had their phone, maybe the other ladies here will confirm. If you have been going through Instagram or Facebook, I don't know about TikTok, they're most likely there. Temu is all over the what?
What do they sell?
Yes,
everything. Temu. You know them? Have you seen them?
Yeah. No, I haven't been there, but I understand
they spend but you've seen it.
Everywhere. And they spent about 2 billion on adverts.
2 billion. I saw it today.
Yes.
On Meta. They gave Meta $2 billion for ads, for sponsored ads. You see Temu in every form. Yes. So that's the power of putting. So trust me, and I see a number of people posting about it now. I've scrolled past all the Temu apps. I'm like, what's going on here? At a point, I'm like, do I follow these people? Why are they all over my page? But I have scrolled past to the point where now I'm beginning to see some things that I like. So I'm pausing to take a look. Like, okay, that's good. I like the color. Okay, I might. It's already a thought in my. I'm beginning to consider the possibility of just looking at what they have that I might like. They have an app.
Some people have repetition.
Oh yeah, some people have have downloaded the apps. It's almost like you've been manipulated into that because of consumption.
Power of media.
Consistently in your eyes.
So I'm hearing you, Ambassador. And what I'm deducing from this is we definitely need more voices. More positive voices. We need more stories. We need more advocates. We need more awareness. Because it will amaze you that as rampant as domestic violence is, there's still people who are clueless. There's still people whose definition of love is, he beats me, so he loves me.
Yes.
And they say when you know better, you do better.
Exactly.
When you know better, you do better.
Yeah, so it's
Go
it's
ahead.
for people like Enifome. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I mean, I know
Yes,
Enifome
and
from Instagram. She's my Instagram sister. Hi. I heard the
Hi.
story of the other lady when I
I'm
joined
gonna bring
Mrs.
them in now.
Moni. Moni, I hope I'm getting your name
Moni.
correct. I joined when
Yes,
you were at where you were
I'm gonna
saying
bring
you
them
actually where you were saying you slept on, did you say the floor, interlocked tiles at 7 months
in.
is when I joined.
Yes.
What
Okay.
I've realized, so of course the other aspect of what I do aside just being in the media, and that's literally the content I create is and even more things like this kind of give me more direction in regards to the kind of content that I need to create and encourage for my YouTube channel and TLP media. It's usually around mental health, mental awareness, answering the questions of life, purpose discovery, which is my core, and the things around which totally touch on this kind of conversations. What we need, honestly, is people who have the confidence to be able to come out to say, I've been there and I've overcome. It's like with my show, Naomi, that I'm going to get you on, by the way. I overcame. That's part of what I did. Smile. You're coming. You got me.
You.
Yes.
You got all
It's
of
like,
us. Monisala is right here in Abuja. You got all of us.
You see? It's like
Yes.
what we do. And maybe this would have been a good time. I'm sorry. I'm a media girl, so I don't have a certain order. So pardon me if I'm talking here and jumping into different things. I mean, it will be very nice for us to perhaps we can make it conversational and bring it on the balance. So I'm digressing before a cause. This is the media. So this is taking action. I am open. I'm open to us coming to my studio. I own a studio, of course, here. And we can, before the 16 days are over, we could do an episode of a show I call The Balance. It's conversational. It's live from our different perspectives, where we speak on domestic violence against women and children and the girl child. As a podcast, yes, we can do that. So we can plan for that. And then
are you ready? Are you ready for television?
Yes,
are you ready?
Sure, I am.
Fantastic.
Let's do it.
Yes. I want you to hold your thought, Ambassador T, for a second. And Nifoma,
no problem,
is going to share a few things, but this is amazing. When you just said that, I was like, look at what God is doing. When I had the men on Tuesday, right now as we speak, they're currently in a group together, and they're trying to use technology to solve the threat problem. So, for instance, that night, Monisola was in that school by herself on the floor, 7 months pregnant. Imagine an app where she could have sent an SOS. So we're not even waiting for husband or for him to come to himself, but an app where she could have, pinned her location and say, I'm here, I'm pregnant, I'm on the floor, someone come get me. So that is already happening. Yesterday, I mean, the educators, the mental health expert, and the parenting coach, the kind of wisdom they dropped. Today I was with the team and I'm like, we have to produce a white paper. And now here you are saying we need to come into the studio to shoot a live podcast discussing about this. So I am truly grateful. And I love the fact that we took this step. Where I'm going to with all of this is sometimes it may not be convenient. It may not be the right time. It may not look like the perfect time. But if we do nothing, I dare to say, then we are a part of the problem.
Yes.
Someone once said, you are either a part of the problem or you are a part of the solution. And it's going to take our collective responsibility. The theme for this year is unite. And that's why we insisted on getting different voices. In a few minutes, we're going to bring the financial experts, because most times you hear cases of women who are refusing to leave because they're not empowered. They feel like, if I leave him, who's going to take care of me? Who's going to take care of the children? And many have died in that situation because they didn't see a way out, especially as regarding finances. And Ifome, I want to bring you back in to sort of share practical things that you've done, practical things that you share with your community, because I know you have to run to another event, that could help those watching live those watching on the replay, what's the way out for someone who is currently a victim, and then for someone who's struggling with, can I live again? As the founder of Live Again Foundation, talk to us. Do we still have her? Do we still have any for me?
She was just here.
She was here, right?
Yeah.
She was here, right? Okay. Okay, so I can see her, but not sure what happened. Her screen went blank. Okay, she will probably join us again. So she's totally out of the room now. But Monisola, let me come back to you. Take us to when you made the decision to leave and walk us very quickly on your healing journey, because it's so important to heal when you've gone through such a traumatic experience. Do you feel you've actually healed, or are you in your healing process? And that's another conversation. Do we actually get to a place of total, complete healing, or are we healing as we go? Take us on that journey very quickly, Monisola.
So thank you so much once more for the opportunity. I will say that I think I have healed, because before now, I cannot engage this conversation without becoming emotional, because it's always a painful experience. Then before now, I will always run when I hear that it's coming. But right now, I can stand wherever he is. I can discuss with him. I can engage any conversation with him. I am not afraid anymore. And how did I eventually make that decision to leave? Because I became, like I said, I became very suicidal and depressed. And what helped me will be, I would say, is the power of the media. Because I was just scrolling past my phone one day, and I met a lady talking about narcissistic personality disorder on Facebook. And I just decided to read through her post, and I discovered that those traits she was mentioning were the traits I constantly saw in my ex-husband. And I reached out to her on Facebook. Then she told me that they have a support group, Adasa Support Foundation, where we have women who have experienced all forms of abuse, if I would like to be a part of it. I didn't even think twice, because what I was looking for was the solution. Because at that time, sometimes I walk on the road and I want to stand before a moving trailer to just hit me and hand it. And so the moment I joined, I saw that I saw that my case was not even serious.
Exactly.
I saw different, more terrible situations that I was experiencing at that time. And that was the point where I began to plan my exits. So before then, I tried like twice. He will meet me along the way, or somebody will give him an information that we saw your wife carrying bag, and then he will beat me back home. But at this point, I was very intentional. I was very intentional.
Okay, so hold your thoughts.
Yeah.
Hold your thoughts. Hold your thought for a second. Wow. It's fascinating. And I'm sure Ambassador is like, oh my goodness, there you go. It was media. It was media. And I had no idea about this. It was media that brought you out. It was media that helped you get out.
Yeah.
Now this is profound. This is so profound. I had no idea that part of your, I mean,
no, sorry, can I say?
Yes, I'm going to add you, but I'm going to also need an Infomet to share her thoughts, because she has to run. But drop that thought quickly, so you don't lose it. And then an Infomet, you're going to have the stage, and then Monisola will come back to you. Please, if you're watching on YouTube, stay with us. Our financial experts, I'm saving them for the closing performance, because we need to know how to make this money. Talk to us, Ambassador.
So this is why I created I Overcame, which is part of what I was saying before I digressed into saying, let's do the show. Because I've realized that people stay in certain situations that are either abusive or where they get to the point where they give up hope and just remain or end up taking their lives, just like Mrs. Money almost did, because because of two things. One, they feel like they're alone. They don't know other people are going through what they're going through. Number two, they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. So I Overcame was created because I believe that
when people realize that they're not alone in their struggle. And for me, this was not even domestic violence related. It was my experience with postpartum anxiety and depression. I remember that when I saw that there were other people, a certain lady came up and, posted holding her baby, and media again came up holding her baby, and she says, yeah, she was crying and, trying to rock the baby. And she says, yeah, I can make do with some friends, and the tag, because it was a page I was following at the time, and it was, mom going through postpartum. And I went into the comments. I can tell you, I had anxiety. I was headed towards psychosis as far as I was concerned. I was losing my mind when I had my third baby, my third child, which is about 3 now. That's how the Pathfinder began. Now, that healed me, just going through the comments and seeing other people saying, oh, this was me 15 years ago. You'll be all right. Oh, this was me 5 years ago. Hold on, darling. You'll go through. Dropping tips. Just saying that some people went through this and they survived. Oh, my goodness.
Power of media.
Oh, the encouragement he gave me that day. So that's part of why I overcame. And that's related to her story. So one, so people see that they're not alone. There are other people going through. That alone is an encouragement. Right. It's the way they say misery likes company. Literally, it works for the other side of other things too. When you realize that you're going through something and there's somebody else as a form of support, it makes it easier. Then when you see that people have actually overcome, that their joy has been restored, you can be happy. You went through this and you're like this. You're not depressed. You've not lost your mind. It means I can do it. I can hold on. It gives me some more power, more strength to get through. So yeah, I just thought to drop that. So that's the power of media. And that's why we need to put out a lot more people who have overcome, like Enifome and Miss Money.
Wow, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that. The power of media. Enifome, I'm going to have you quickly share, and I see Sarah also needs to jump in. Hey, is this our beautiful baby?
This is the she. This is she.
Hello. This is she. Hi, baby. Enifome, please. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Can you see me?
Time. Yes.
Yeah, can you see me?
Yes, you're on the spotlight. You're on the spotlight.
Okay, cool.
So just share your closing thoughts with us. I know we have to do this again, and we need to have time to do this, but share practical action tips for women who are either victims or who are coming out and saying, can I leave again? Please just share very quickly before you run.
Okay, thank you very much. Interestingly, I was just thinking about something I was telling someone about the journey to the promised land. It takes 3 levels. The first level is that you're in Egypt and you decide to actually leave Egypt. And then the second level is crossing the Red Sea. And then the third level is actually entering the promised land. Because at each point there are stages to cross. It's a lot. So anybody going through abuse, because living again is not just about abuse, it's going through pain and any difficult situation that can cause you trauma or has caused you trauma. But if you're going through abuse or domestic violence, since that is what we're speaking about today, and you want to live again, the first step is that you actually need to go and get help. Just go out, go talk to someone that is around doing something like this that we're doing now, someone that has a foundation, someone that is actively helping women go through this and come out of it. So talk to someone. Find if you're living in a state that has to do with that are doing some active work towards domestic violence, like Lagos State, for example. Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency is doing a lot for this. So if you have such people around you, such agencies around you, go and seek for help. You might think it won't do anything, it will. Just them calling that man to say, look, you're abusing this woman, because many abusers feel that the women that they're abusing have no one to come and help them. They actually feel that way. And because you know why they feel that way? Because one of their tactics is isolation. So they actually and now the person has gone. And then
you froze for a bit, but we can hear you. I think she's frozen again. Ooh.
I see that I'm frozen. Can anyone see me?
Yes, we can see you now. You're back. You're back. Okay, maybe turn off your video.
Can you hear me? Yes. The
Yes,
people that I'm
yes,
supposed to go and meet called me, so I need to rush and go. So what I
yes,
was
yes,
saying
yes.
is, I've forgotten my line of thought. Someone should please remind me. What was I saying?
So
I was
abusers,
talking about
abusers will, yes. So they do
isolation.
it
Yes,
because,
they
yes,
isolate you.
isolation.
Yes,
Yes.
they isolate you because that is the way that they can reinforce what they are doing. So don't think you're alone. That's a lie. You are not alone. Walk out,
Mm.
go and look for someone, talk to someone, find help because there's help available. Right. So that is what I'm really going to stand on because I have to run. So get
No,
help. Help is
get help.
available. Don't
You're not
tell yourself
alone.
it's not available. It's
Right.
available. You're not alone.
It's
That once
available.
you believe that you're alone, you believe that there's no help, that you're going to die in this thing, nobody can help you. That is the first, that is how you are going to die there. So get help, speak to anyone, get help. There is help outside. That's what I'm going to say because I have to run. But thank
Thank
you
you,
so much for having
Anifome. You
me.
have, yes, you have shared so well. I can't even thank you enough for your time, for the work that you do. Please, everyone, help me celebrate Anifome, the visionary
Thank you
behind
so
the
much,
Begin
everyone.
Foundation.
Thank you.
We will be in your inbox for another round.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you
No
so much.
problem. No problem.
All
Bye,
right.
everyone. All
Bye
right.
for
Bye.
now. So I want to
Goodbye.
bring up Sarah very quickly. Is she still here? Reach Auntie, can you turn on your video? Where is she?
Yes, I'm
Okay, there
still
she is.
here.
Okay. Thank you so much. I know you also have to run,
Run.
but in 5 minutes, just quickly tell us because I wanted you and the other financial expert, Tammy, to just, listen in. It was
Yeah.
intentional to keep you towards the end to say this is what is happening out there. This is what these women have gone through. They've come out, but there are many who are still in there. And we know statistics will show that there are so many women who are staying because they feel like I can't survive. I need money. Just give us a few tips. How can some of these women begin to empower themselves? So, kind of like having a plan. So you just
Yeah.
don't come out and then you're like, oh no. How can you be in the situation, have a plan to empower yourself so that should you come out eventually, you won't be stranded? Give us some strategies.
Okay. Thank you very much for having me this evening. It's so good to be here. I've actually been listening quietly because I've been trying to do some work too.
Love
Right.
it.
But great stories. The other
Monisola,
the
Enifome.
I'm not
Enifome.
good in Yoruba names. Sorry, please.
Money. Okay, so money.
Moni,
Money.
Moni, yes, Moni and the other lady shared very
Enifome.
uniforme. Yes, I hope I got it right.
You got it. You got it.
Okay. So great stories they shared. I won't say it's not something you would ever want to go through. It's not something
Mm,
you would wish for anybody to go through, but they've gone through it and then they're out strong, stronger than they were before, and then they're helping other women. And so you're asking for strategies, what women can do, women in that situation, what they can do when they come out. So they are not stranded. They don't come out and then they are stranded, or they don't remain because they are stranded. They do not have the financial capacity to take care of themselves or their children after they come out, right? And one notable what's the word right now with the two women who just shared their story was the fact that they were already doing something. The other lady had
mm,
a school, so she was already
mm,
financially empowered, right?
mm,
She already had a
mm,
school, so it was easy for her, not like easy, but I would say it was easy for her to now leave her marriage and still have something to fall back to.
mm,
Her challenge was actually what people would say, and she didn't even understand what she was in to begin with, because she believed that she married someone who was a love of her life. He was her first love, and then she didn't believe divorce was an option until she later on realized that it was, but she had something to fall back to. Another thing I would always say when it comes to economic empowerment for the woman's economic power, is the fact that we're not just talking about you having money here, because most times you have money and you do not have the decision-making power over your money. This is not even for women who are physically abused or anything. We're even talking about women who are not physically abused. They still do not have the decision-making power over their monies. You find out that you're married to a man, and then subtly you can't make a decision about your money, the money you worked for and earned for, without asking for his permission. And he's not abusing you physically. Yeah.
Wow.
And then we even have, but on the other side, the man makes his money and he can decide to buy a car and come back home, and nobody questions him. Those are the real issues we have here. So we're not, when we talk about the woman's economic power, it goes beyond just women who are facing physical abuse and children, young women who are facing physical abuse. It goes deep. This thing runs so deep in the society, right? So for me, so I'm talking to both now, right?
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
So I'm
yes,
talking
we do have
to,
a diverse audience. Yes, please.
Yeah, so I'm talking to women who are married, who they are not necessarily being abused, but still do not have the money-making decision over their money, right? That means you're not really economically empowered. There's something wrong somewhere. And then again, strategies. Yeah, so let's go back to strategies women can use. Women who are being abused. What are the strategies you can use to come out? So because I've noticed that we have about 3 categories. So I had written it down here. We have about 3 categories of women who go through abuse in their marriages, or just ladies or girls who go through abuse. There are 3 categories of women. There are those who have no financial or economic power. That means these women lack financial resources to leave abusive relationships, making them dependent on their abuser for basic needs such as housing, food, childcare, and the rest of them. Their economic dependence is trapped. They're actually trapped because they cannot do anything for themselves. So that's one category. The second category of people are those who are afraid of societal judgment, like our first speaker. She was afraid of what people would say, right? And then there are those who are afraid of societal judgment despite their financial independence. And I don't know if this lady would be a good example. I don't know if we all know her. There was this lady who sang Ekweme. She attends Dunamis Church. She was really popular, very, very popular woman. I don't know if anybody knows her, but she went through
her story was pretty viral.
Exactly.
Yes.
The women affairs took over the case and everything. Yes, but she was actually making good money. She was making money, but she was financially empowered, but she couldn't leave the marriage because she was afraid of what society would say. So there are different categories of women when it comes to abuse in marriage and then all that. But these are the strategies they can use. These are strategies they can use to help themselves if they find themselves in that kind of situation. So like I said, the first category of women are women with no financial or economic power. The first strategy is skill development. That's the first strategy. You have to learn a skill. You have to go get a skill, even if it's making hair, even if it's cooking, whatever skill it is. If you've gone to school, you're educated and all that, you can learn digital skills to help you make small income here and there. And I always tell people that God gives you a rod. Every human being has a rod, right? Every human being has a rod. And whatever you decide to use that rod for is what brings you income. God does not leave. There's nobody God has created he does not give a rod to come to this earth with. So what are you using your rod for? For some rods, you can use them for multiple to multitask. There are some people that can do so many things, like Mbasity. You can do so many things, like Dr. Naomi. We're here, we can do so many things. You can do storytelling. You can do so many things. So for some people, you are multi-talented. God never leaves anyone to come like that. So it's left for you to hone your skills, either learn or hone your skills so that you can earn. That's the first thing. The second thing is to access shelter, provide access to women's shelter that also offer job placement. I know that the Women Affairs does this very well for women who are, and then there are NGOs too. There are NGOs who empower women, who help them. They
That's what
have
an
shelters
infamous
for them.
NGO does. She has a
Exactly.
shelter. She has a
Exactly.
shelter.
Good. So it's left for them. So information, this is where media comes in now, right?
Power of media.
Information. We need people who are in that situation need to know that there is a solution for them. Because most women are there and then they don't even know that there's a solution. They feel like Mbasiti said, they're the only ones. But you're not the only one. There are other women,
alone.
but you're not alone. So we need the media. Aside media, we need to keep talking because there are some people who are not on media. In fact, most of the women who go through what they go through are not actually on social media.
They've been isolated, but there are people around them. There are people around them who have access to information. Yes.
Exactly. Then there's financial assistance. They can actually always find help. People are always willing to help, especially if you have that kind of story, except if they're just wicked, pure wicked. But people are always willing to help, especially family members. No family member will know that you're going through that kind of situation and still want you to be there without helping you. So that's the first strategy. That's the strategy for the women with no financial or economic power at all. So resources, local NGOs, international organizations such as UN Women, the Global Fund for Women, right? So these are
Action
outlets
Aid.
you can get funding for. Then the second category of women are women who are afraid of societal judgment. That one, almost every woman is in that category. Whether your marriage is working or your marriage is not working, there's always that thing where you're afraid of what people will call you, the stigma that comes with you leaving.
The cancel culture.
Exactly. Of you leaving your home. They will tell you that you can't even bear this kind of thing. Like the other speaker was saying, the second speaker, she was saying that they've taught us as African women to be strong. We can take these things. Yeah. And then the thing is, it's transgenerational before you know. Because these kids, you have kids and they're watching you. And they feel it's normal. If mommy can take it, it's normal. You might say, God forbid, it will not happen to me. But down the line, you realize that you are actually in that same situation. So these are the things. So strategies, awareness campaign, run campaigns that encourage leaving abusive relationships and emphasize that abuse is never the victim's fault. Abuse is never the victim's fault. This is something that women who go through that need to know. It is never your fault. It is never. There's nothing that warrants for someone that told you that he loves you to actually, in any form, abuse you, whether physically or verbally. It is not allowed, right? Then the second strategy is support group. We can't talk about this enough. You need support. Support is the backbone, because once you're out, who do you fall to? What do you fall back to? Having support system is very, very important. The next strategy is community engagement. Engage religious leaders, community elders, influencers to challenge harmful societal norms. We need, especially church people. I don't even want to go there. Pastors need to they need to talk about these things. They are not talking about it enough.
Yeah.
They are not talking about, even the media is not talking about it enough. I'm not sure we're doing justice.
We need to do more.
We need to do more. We need to do more. So resources, we have community advocacy for group and lonely support forums like Women Aid, counseling services. It's important for these women to go through counseling because they've gone through a lot, and they will need you to re-engineer their minds to know that this is not normal. It is not normal at all. Then the third category of women are women afraid of judgment despite financial independence. Yeah.
That's
so
another
they are
group.
actually, yes. So they are actually financially independent, but what would the society say? they would always blame the woman. And it's because you have money now. That's why he's beating you. You're not
You couldn't
bringing the
keep your
money home.
home.
Yes.
That's true.
You're not bringing the money home. You're doing everything you want to do. In fact,
Submit.
recently someone
Submission.
asked me, yes, submission. The word. In fact, someone asked me recently, he's like, it seems like you're the breadwinner in your home. How do you cope without you being disrespectful to your husband? And I'm like, where did that one come from? So because I have money now, it equates disrespect to my husband. So you can imagine how people think
The
that
narrative.
once you have money, it means that you automatically become disrespectful. But where did they get that from? It's a wrong notion, it's a
Narrative.
wrong
Yeah.
narrative. Very, very wrong. The fact that you make more than your husband does not mean that you will disrespect him. There's no room for that. There's absolutely no room for that. So we need women to know that, yes, you're financially, in fact, if you're financially independent, no, now, why is the man beating you? What is the cause for his abuse? Right? So these are strategies. So we need those women now. What they need is support. They need therapeutic support. They need to know that.
Mental health.
Yes, they really do. They need to see role models. They need to, in fact, there are so many women living abusive marriages. So they need to see that, oh, there are women who are actually well-to-do, who have left their homes and nothing has happened to them. They are still standing. Legal education. We need to inform and educate women on the legal aspect of this. I wish we had a legal representative here, Dr. Naomi. I really
We
wish we
do.
did.
We do. We
Oh,
do actually. Yeah,
yes,
but
yes.
that's on Friday. That's tomorrow. So we have legal
Yes.
coming in tomorrow. We have the UN women coming in tomorrow. We may even get the police tomorrow. Like we try to cover as much as we could because again, the theme for this year is uniting. And so as many voices we could get to speak on this matter is what we've done this entire weekend. I mean, here you are dropping such powerful nuggets, and not just for women who are even being abused, because this was also part of the conversation. There are people who it's not physical, it's financial, it's emotional, it's verbal, it's psychological. So the abuse cuts across so many threads, and you've done just powerful justice tonight, giving us all of these tips and strategies for different categories. So find the box you're in and take that which Sarah has given you, and most importantly, do something with it. I think one of the things that has also run across through tonight is the fact that women need to know that they're not alone and there is help.
Yes.
Help available. And if you're wondering where's the help, connect with any of these experts that we brought in all week and just get into the DM and say, I watched you at the Blooming Lotus and you described my story. I need help. And they can direct you. You can come to our DM and you can reach out to us. There is a way out. You do not need to give up. You do not need to take your life. There is a way out. You are not alone. Thank you so much, Sarah. Do you have any more thoughts you want to share, or you really have to go now?
Okay, so my final thought is
Go ahead.
I've discovered that most women who stay in abusive marriage is largely because they are not financially empowered, right? And most times when we talk financial empowerment, the first thing the government does is to give you money. But that is not actually financial empowerment, right? It's a form of financial empowerment. The real financial empowerment is actually learning a skill. Like I said, learn a skill, hone your skill, right? Be a person of value. As a woman, in fact, most African women know how to braid hair, even if it's just to braid hair, even if it's just to sell. You don't know how to? No, I'll teach you. Yeah, you know, when we talk financial empowerment, people are thinking in millions. They're thinking something huge. You can start small. You can start small. You can start selling tomato. You can start selling thrift clothing. Just start. And another thing is just start. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to speak out. Don't be afraid to start. Just start and just leave. Like the speaker said, the decision to leave is totally yours, but you don't want to stay until you die. So just leave and start small, and the Lord will help you. Thank you.
Amen and amen. Thank you so much, Sarah.
You're
We're going
welcome.
to release you, but thank you for all the nuggets you've dropped. I'm excited that the team and we're coming up with a white paper after this entire week of conversations. And we're going to be getting a copy across to all the speakers and basically just highlighting all your wisdom and words of just your powerful nuggets. And if we even need more, we will circle back to you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And Ifome is actually even back in the building as well. So
Oh,
right now we're going to release you, Rich
thank you.
Auntie, and we're going to hear from another financial expert. Thank you so much. I love
Thank
you. Thank
you.
you for joining
Yeah,
us.
sorry I'm
Thank
leaving.
you.
Sorry.
No, I totally understand. What
Okay.
a power night. Thank you.
Thank you.
What
Yeah.
a power night we have had so far. I am truly, truly honored. Right now, I have on the spotlight another financial expert. Since we're still talking money, it's important that we just, maintain the flow. She's been here since this conversation started, not just as a financial expert, but she also has a nonprofit where she caters to widows and single mothers. And so she has the best of experience in both worlds. So, Tammy, the stage is yours. What is the way out? How can women empower themselves? How can they start over? Because when it also comes to empowerment, there are those like Mrs. Monisola. I know she walked away from the school. She left the school. She started again. I met her at an IDP camp where she literally had to, build something out of nothing. So even cases where a woman is financially empowered, some end up just leaving with the clothes on their body and they have to start from scratch. I can see her nodding her head, and I'm sure you're going to come in and tell us that part. So, Tammy, take it away. Tell us, what is the way out?
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Violet, but I'm fondly called Tammy. My husband gave me Tammy Lade, so people call me Tammy. Thank you, Naomi, for this platform, and thank you, everyone that is listening and watching. Okay, basically, Rich Auntie, in fact, she actually touched on virtually everything I want to talk about. And she shared a story about Osinachi. If you noticed, I was clapping while she was sharing that story because I think while driving yesterday, Osinachi's thoughts also came into my mind. She was a woman that had a platform. She was a woman that had all the resources that she could lay her hands on. But one thing she did not have was the skills, financial skills to manage her funds. And then she didn't have the financial knowledge because her husband then was a manager. And it was what I heard, it was the one that was also managing her finances. So it tells her what to take at what time and when. For me, that is number one error. As a woman, a woman is supposed to be financially skilled, financially knowledgeable. It's not enough for you to have money in a marriage, but it's enough. What is important is for you to have the stability financially. There's a complete difference between a financially independent woman and a woman that is financially stable. You can be independent, you can have all the knowledge as a woman, but you are not financially stable. Stability is what brings about your freedom. Stability is what brings about you being able to make decisions. If you're in a marriage or you're in an abusive relationship, once you have stability financially, you can make a decision to walk out of the marriage. You can make a decision to seek help legally. Because if you are not financially stable, how can you engage a lawyer? If you are not financially stable, how can you even look for help outside? Because I have all the knowledge, okay, like I've learned today as a woman from Sarah, you're supposed to have the power. Once you have knowledge is power, don't forget me. But it's applied knowledge that is more powerful. So if you gain all the knowledge as a woman financially and you don't apply the knowledge, you've not gained anything. You don't have power. You're as helpless as any other person. So what I know is that most women, they're just afraid to start up something. That most women are just engaged in, oh, my husband's money, my partner's money, my spouse's money. Your spouse's money is not your money. Because when it comes to the rainy day, you'll be shocked and amazed at what your spouse will do. So as a woman, gain the required skills. First of all, you gain the knowledge. Look for platforms that are talking about financial independence, financial knowledge. But once you have the knowledge, you know where to put your money. You know how to make your money speak for you. You will give your money the volume. That's the voice that you want to give your money. You know where to invest your money. You know the difference between savings and investments. Why a lot of women go through what they go through in marriage is because they completely depend on their partner. They don't have the stability. They don't have the financial independence. So it affects their confidence. It affects their self-esteem. When you are financially independent, you are building wealth. You are having, which means you are having freedom to make choices. Okay, what's the choice? I'm independent. I know this. I have the choice to make whether to go to bank or whether to go to a microfinance, whether to go to money, MMM, whether to keep my money at home. But when you have stability is what makes you have informed decision on how to have a regular source of income. So one thing I want to say tonight is for us women to have regular source of income. Rich Auntie said, gain a skill. Skills can be anything. It can be plaiting of hair. It can be fixing of nails. It can even be piercing of ears. It can be anything, learning how to sew. You can be in the house, you are not working as a woman, but you can empower yourself financially. How? Learn a skill. Digital skills is selling very fast. You can be on your iPad, your laptop, and you are gaining skills, you're making money. You don't have to go out. Because some of our partners, they actually restrict us from working. That's an abuse. Then, if your partner says you cannot work, you can devise a means on how you can work inside your home. You don't have to wait for someone as a woman to come and give you money to feed, money to do anything that you want to do, money to even make calls. You don't have to. Get the required skills as a woman. Do not let any man box you in a corner that you cannot do. I tell the truth, for any partner that does that is actually threatened by that woman's success, is actually threatened by the future, the career progression of that woman. So that's why a man will lock up a woman and say, you cannot work. You cannot do business. Just take care of my children. Peradventure, there's any woman here that is going through that. I tell you, it is time for you to gain economic empowerment, for you to understand that that is not love, but that is an abuse. So I would advise us here as women to gain financial knowledge. Financial literacy is not taught in schools. It's not taught in churches. In fact, that's one of the things I'm canvassing for churches. You are not building capacity in churches. All most churches ask for is bring money, tithes, so offering and all that. But you don't care. So do you know some people don't even understand what's the difference between the check and balance as a woman? So you end up losing funds. You end up getting into the wrong hands. because you don't know the nitty-gritty as simple as a check and balance. So we need the engagement of religious bodies. We need the engagement of society organizations, non-profit organizations. We need the engagement of governments. And as a woman, fine, if you don't have to look for paid spaces or paid platforms that you can gain knowledge. There are several platforms that are free that
Many
you can
that are
gain
free.
knowledge.
Absolutely. Many that are free.
There are several
Many.
platforms. You go online, you gain knowledge,
YouTube.
and then you look for the three most important people in a woman's life: your lawyer, your doctor, and your financial advisor. Your health, the health of your finances matters. It matters a lot. If you see, it's not enough to be financially independent as a woman. It's not. Everybody talk about financial literacy, financial literacy. It's cool. But what is most important to you and to me as a woman is financial stability.
Financial stability. Wow, wow, wow,
Financial
wow,
stability.
wow.
Your financial stability gives you the ability to manage your day-to-day expense. You don't go into impulse buying. It gives you ability to also have stable source of income. One key factor as women that we should know is for us to be able to build emergency funds. Let me tell you, even the Bible is rich in everything. If you go through Genesis 41, verse 34 to 36, it was when God was telling, I think it was Joseph, that they should plan for the raining day. Famine was coming. So amongst the crops that you have, amongst all these things that you have, keep some aside, because he sees the future that famine is coming. But you know the problem we have as women, we don't plan for the future. We only think about the now. What will my child eat? How can I feed? How can I do this? My dear sisters, I want to advise us, no matter how small, no matter how little you make, keep at least a 10% aside as emergency funds. Imagine if Joseph had not done that. When famine comes, everybody would have died by famine.
They would have all perished. They would have all perished.
So it's the same thing when you don't plan, keep an emergency funds aside. When trouble comes, you will go through it like it will hit you like rocket science. It does not matter how small, because you know your emergency funds can save you for the raining day. When you have issues in your marriage, when you have problems with your spouse, you would know where to go to. At least when your spouse says, "Get out of my house." Like I think Munisola, someone that said the husband threw her out and she couldn't find where to go, so she slept in the school. If she had her money, or of course she had her money. If she had access, or maybe like an emergency fund or something, she would have just gone, maybe get an ATM, go into an hotel, rest her head in a very comfortable place. An ability for her to think and recreate comes up at that moment.
Wow. Wow.
But she was inconvenienced by sleeping on a bare ground.
Wow. Wow.
Dr. Naomi, one major thing I want us to take out from here today is financial problems are not about finances. That's what we think, oh, I don't have money. As
Financial
a woman,
problems are not about finances.
are not about finances. It's about your mindset. It's a mindset problem. I don't have, I cannot save. Every form of excuse we give. Oh, the man will not allow me out of the house. If the man will not allow you out of the house, what are you using your space for during the day? What are you using your camera for, or your phone for during the day?
There has to be something that can be done. There has to be something that can be done.
E-commerce is the spike of the day. Basti or something talked about Temu. It's been, if you go to Instagram, you just see Temu everywhere. Temu.
After they dropped $2 billion.
Until the news came out that they spent $2 billion to engage Meta in adverts. E-commerce is as simple as, oh, I have 10,000. There's somebody selling products of 1,000. You buy the product from wholesaler 1,000 as a woman, and then you put it up on a maybe sponsored ad, and you are selling that product for 3,000. And people come for you to buy. You've made averagely 1,500 on that. You have empowered
Profit.
yourself financially.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
You don't
Violet,
have to go out. You don't have to wear the suits. You don't have to wear
to
the
come
red
out.
collar, white collar to go out to say, okay, I have a 9 to 5 job, or I have a speaking engagement. You can sit in your space as a woman and be empowered financially. And my dear,
Wow.
once you're empowered financially, you have a voice.
You
You
have a
have a
voice.
voice in that marriage, because a lot of men are scared of women that are financially empowered. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Nifome is back. She wants to share something. Ladies, this is what we're going to do. I want us to just share our closing thoughts. And Nifome, I'll hear from you. Just share your closing thoughts with us. We like to keep this within the hour. We've stretched beyond, but I was prepared for that because I knew today was a power session. We had media, we had 2 financial experts, we have a survivor, well, 2 survivors, 2 powerful women who have taken back their power and are now making a difference. And Nifome, please go ahead and share that which you'd like to share, and just give us your closing thoughts, and then we'll come to you, Monisola, as well. Thank you so much, Tammy, for such an insightful, breakdown of what it means. I love that part about financial, how did you put it? It's not finance, the financial incapacity. That was the way you put it.
No, financial empowerment or financial problems are not about finances, but it's about the
Financial
mindset
challenges,
problem. Yeah.
yes, and not
Yeah.
about finances. It's about the
Yes,
mindset.
about
So it's
it.
really how
Because
you're
for
thinking.
every time there's always an excuse why you don't have. But once you make up your mind that I want to save, I want to, everything is about goals, setting goals. Just like as we have business goals, life goals, as a woman, set your financial goals. Yeah, set your financial goals. I want to start. This is where I am. Do a critical analysis of your financial health. This is where I am. This is where I want to be. And this is how I want to get there. How do you want to get there? That's what matters.
Wow.
Do you want to create a business? Do you want to learn the skills? Or do you want to be saving 1,000 naira every week or something? Do you want to be saving a specific amount of money? That is how you want to get it. So that is the financial discipline we all need as a woman.
Wow.
Thank
you so much.
Yeah.
Go ahead. To escape. No, finish the sentence.
To escape eventualities in the society. It's not just about marriage. If you notice, I'm not dwelling about gender-based violence and all that. It's about, because the truth is that once a woman
it cuts across. Yes, it cuts across everyone.
Finance cuts across. Once a woman is empowered financially, you can sit on the decision table. A financially empowered woman is an analytical woman. You can analyze anything. If you are empowered, if you take ownership of your life, most women, we don't take ownership of our life. We just we're just losing up. We just allow anything, garbage in, garbage out.
Got it.
That's one very key thing I want to talk about. Take ownership of your life. Love with your head, your heart, and think with your head. Most of us women will love with our hearts and will think with our hearts. So that's why we get into the mess of, okay, I have money, I carry everything and go and give to the man. But when the man has money, the man does not remember that he has a wife. When there are challenges, the man will not remember there is a woman in the house. So as a woman, take ownership of your life. Take ownership of your finances and love with your heart and think with your head. When it comes to your finances, plan for the rainy day. That's emergency funds. It's a very powerful tool. Yeah.
So powerful. So powerful. I want to quickly bring in Nifome because I know she is in and out. Nifome, you are on the stage right now.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Tammy. Wow.
Wow, this has been, in fact, I've been in and out, but I've been like, this is so good because the speakers have echoed my thoughts a number of times. In fact, when Temi was speaking about finances, the mindset thought just came to my head, and then she mentioned it. I'm like, yeah,
I saw
that's
that.
it. You saw it. That's it.
I saw
Because
I saw
I
when you
work with
did
a
that.
lot of women, and money is not their problem. Many of these women, money is not the issue. I have to state this. Money is not the issue. There's a particular woman we wanted to empower with a grant, and we decided not to give her that money again because we realized that the issues were beyond the money, and that money would just kill her. Because we
Hmm.
saw that we had assigned her to a business mentor, and she kept coming up with different excuses. She had a business she was doing before, that business crashed. So we decided that
Hmm.
before we give her this money, let her go and learn under the business mentor peculiar to her business. Or yeah, just go there, problem. So we had to decide. We had to come together and decide that, you know what, this particular woman will pass with her for this one. So I can tell you for free that most of them, money is not
It's
the
the
problem. Which brings me to
mindset.
what I was saying before I ran off about the three levels of cross of getting to your promised land, which is Egypt. Leaving Egypt is one thing. Crossing the Red Sea is another thing. Now, entering the promised land is another thing. Now, all these things I've mentioned, they're all action words. Leaving Egypt is a whole lot because Egypt has crumpled you. Think of the Israelites. Think of the Israelites. That's the only way I can help us understand this mindset thing. Even when they
Hmm.
took them out of Egypt, they were still insulting Moses that you brought us here to come
Right.
and
Take
die.
us back.
Take
Hmm.
us back to go and enjoy what we're enduring. So many
The
women have gone through
onions.
abuse. They have been programmed to endure it.
Hmm.
So they have become comfortable with that abuse. And they told themselves, at least I'm seeing food to eat here. At least I have a roof over my head. At least, even if it's beating me, at least my children's school fees are taken care of. So it's a programming. Now, to get that woman to leave Egypt is a whole, like it's a lot of work. Now,
Hmm.
when the woman now leaves Egypt and she wants to now cross the Red Sea, right? There's this all those things of you've now said, okay, I want to cross the Red Sea. There's now indecision, self-doubt. Can I do this? Will I do this? We had one woman that we wanted to rescue. She went back to this man. She went back last minute. All our hearts were broken because we already prepared the shelter for her, everything. She left, and we understood that this one, it has really entered deep. Now, why am I mentioning these three levels? Because it's not as easy as it sounds. And I would
Yeah.
say this as the Live Again coach, and which is the crux of my message for Live Again. That you left Egypt does not mean that Egypt has left you.
Has left here.
And that is why when she mentioned that mind thing, I'm like, that is what I have been waiting for. Because you will do a business and you will sabotage it. You will
Hmm.
work in a place and you will sabotage it. In fact, your customers will not come to you because your mind is messed up and you feel
Yes.
like you're undeserving. You feel like you don't,
Hmm.
your
The
body is
victim
emitting
mentality. The
victim
victim
mentality, and the energy
mentality.
around you is so negative that you can drive off people without you saying a word. Why? Egypt
Hmm.
is still inside of you. So it's very
Hmm.
important to do the inner work. That you left Egypt does not mean that Egypt has left you. We can wear
Hmm.
makeup and wear hair and look like we have left the abusive situation. Are you carrying Egypt with you? That's the real cocoa.
Wow.
And that's where, because for me, after I left and I was now doing well and everything, my numbers were not adding up. I was struggling so much with my finances. And then I realized it was my mind. The
Hmm.
mind of an abused woman is like a car that has had a terrible accident.
My God.
So to go and stop the body work, you are wasting your time. You need to go into the engine and overhaul the entire engine. And that's really where my work comes in because you need to be able to produce and be useful to yourself, your family, and the world at large. If you're not useful to
Hmm.
yourself, you cannot be useful to anybody else. And that's really
Holy
where
shit.
those
Yeah.
three levels comes in. So don't just
Hmm.
okay, I'm living and I want to live, I want to think of the three levels. What are your strategies for the three levels? You have to leave that abuse. Okay, after you leave, what next? When you leave, what next?
Hmm.
Think of it in three levels. Very, very
Wow.
important. And then I want to mention that
Hmm.
your finances is not only your physical cash, it's your talent, it's your
Hmm.
skill, Somebody mentioned skill acquisition, but let me go to talent, that raw one that you've not even turned into a skill. And I would use myself as a case study. So when I lost my job, because the whole abuse thing messed up my mind, I wasn't even able to cope with my targets. I had 5 million naira monthly target. I wasn't able to meet it up again. So I knew that the job was going to go. And finally, I lost the job. When I lost that job, and I had to fall back, I asked myself, what do I have in my hand? And I'm asking anybody listening that is going through that and doesn't have raw physical cash, what do you have in your hand? I was emceeing part-time and I was working full-time 9 to 5, but I was emceeing every Saturday. I said, okay, let me just go and MC full-time. And that was how I went and started emceeing. That was what I had in my hand. From emceeing events, some of them I'll do volunteering, some they will pay me small. I will say thank you. I will take it and I will go and take care of my kids' stuff and all of that. From there, I began to speak. I was being paid to speak. I will speak. I will go to events. One man told me to come for his school's PTA meeting. They paid me. I will speak. I will motivate. I've always been good with my mouth. So you might not have a handwork, but do you have a mouth work? Check. What is that that you have? All my treasures are in my mouth. I have to sit down and ask myself, what do I really have? My mouth. So I began to speak. From speaking, I went into coaching. From coaching, so you will keep multiplying as you use it. The Bible says that to him that has, more will be given. To him that does not have, that he has will be taken away because you're not using it. So check your talent. That is one way for financial empowerment. Take it and start using it. Even if you are volunteering, you are still using it. Trust me, you can do videos, you can take it somewhere and say, oh, I supplied this thing for somebody, I spoke here, I did this. It is still part of the fact that you have done it. So get and work. Like Feladotoye would say, your job is different from your work. Your work is why you were created. Your job is something that you're doing, along your career and everything. But your work, this is why you're here. Find it and get to work. As you do it, God would open the windows of heaven and He will literally bless you. I am not the person I used to be years ago because I took that raw talent and said, this thing, God has given me this one. It is the one I have in my hand. So what do you have in your hand? That is one way to financially empower yourself. And the last thing I would say is this. For the woman that the husband has said, don't work and everything, it takes more than willpower. Because at this point, your will has been messed up. Your will is part of, your mind, your will, your soul, your emotions, they're all parts of your soul. So if you are going to get out of that and start having money, emergency funds and all that, you might need to do something very drastic. You might need to, take a very drastic decision or find someone that can help you that has mind. I'm saying this because it's the reality. The people that are not working, I've seen where the men will go and close the business. I've seen where the men will go and pack all the things in the shop. You will try a business, the man will go and pack it. They'll give you go and the man will say, yeah, come and do the business in my house. You set ring light, the man will put up the ring light. You not see, like some men are sent from hell. So if you're in that kind of situation, do something, call someone that has some level of, I don't know, let them help you keep your money somewhere different from the one that he knows. I don't know, it's going to be hard, and that's the truth. We have to say these things the way it is. Because
I didn't get that. What did you say? I didn't get that. I needed to hear it.
I don't know what you got and what you didn't get, but
no, you were talking about maybe getting someone. You were talking about women that their husbands will not allow them work and the emergency funds. Yes, so you were preferring the solution. So that's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, I'm saying that for some women that have not worked or have not kept emergency funds, it's more like they have not tried. Yeah,
because you were giving examples of the one that will close the shop.
Yes, they will close that business. Yes, they will carry that thing. There's a woman we helped in Port Harcourt. She had to go and start cleaning for people and cooking for them. The man will go as far as calling the people that she's helping that don't employ her, don't allow her come there. Like she was literally frustrated. And the only way she could do anything was around her house. So we had to set up a POS business for her. I'm just trying to give you examples of you're going to you're going to go and meet another man outside. That's why you're going out. All sorts. They will come up with all sorts for you not to work. So I'm saying that for such a woman in that particular kind of situation that has tried, open business here, try to set up this one and that one, and it's not working, she should get someone that has like something drastic, someone that can come and put their foot down and say, this woman has to do this business, somebody that has influence or
Yes,
something
like
over that man.
sorry,
Yes, if
like a
not, she
legal
will be in a
service.
vicious
Yeah,
cycle. Yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah.
one can work as
Mm,
well. Yeah. So these are
yeah.
my final
Thank
thoughts, right? It's really how your mind affects your finances. And please, I beg you, do the inner work of your mind. Because if you don't do that, no matter how you keep looking good on the outside and try to
Nothing will
make people feel like,
shift.
oh, I'm doing well, you will still see it in your results. After how many years, if you're still in the same spot, then obviously your mind is still in Egypt and you need to work on your mind. Thank you so much for having me.
Wow.
And
And
I have to
for
go.
me, wow. I don't even know where to begin to unpack this. And I'm so glad you came back because you dropped so much fire. Um, I feel it was like a wake-up call for everyone watching this, whether live or on the replay. Some very hard truths, especially when you refer to those who have left Egypt and Egypt hasn't left them. Because there's so many cases of women who just, okay, they've even come out, but it seems as though it was even they were better off when they were in the situation because the victim mentality, the energy they're giving off, everything about them is so loud and it's shutting down opportunities for them. Thank you. We can't even say thank you enough, Inifome, but thank you for all that you've done. Fire. I am so proud of you. Thank you for everything. Monisola, we're going to hear from you now. It's almost 8 p.m. This is the longest night we have had. And I knew we were going to have a long night. But I want to hear your closing thoughts. I mean, you've taken us on the journey of how the abuse started, how you were naive, how, even the church didn't give you that support you needed, how you eventually got exposed because of media and you found a way out. Where are you today? And just what's the message to someone who's thinking, can I make it? Like when I come out or I'm out, it, can I start again? Because I know you left your school and you literally had to build. Well, I'm not even sure if you built, well, you brought something out of nothing at the IDP camp. So give us some, share your thoughts on your journey today.
In fact, this has been a fire rise section. That's all I have to say tonight. But I will say
Oh,
for every woman out there, if I could, then you can. Because for me,
mm,
it was a tough journey. I had 5 kids. I had 1-year-old twins at that time, but I
mm,
made up my mind. The starting point was realizing that I needed my life back. So I was
mm,
ready to lose everything to gain my life. So the first step was I decided to walk away without anything. I wasn't looking back to Egypt. We had properties, we had houses, I had the thriving school, but I left with my 5 kids and just my certificate. And I came
mm.
all the way from Bayelsa to Abuja. I was all tears, about 8 hours journey by road, coming out with those kids. But I had a strong support system.
Mm,
One of the speakers talked about the support system. I had a strong support system. My family was there to support. It wasn't financially alone, but they were a strong voice behind me. The last speaker just said, have someone who has a voice that is willing to take a stand. So I had a strong support system and I had made up my mind. And when I came out, I had a place to rest my head. There was a shelter. They already rented a 1-bedroom flat for me and the kids. I began to ask myself, what is that rod in my hand? What do I have that I was going to utilize? I wasn't ready to live in my pains. I wasn't ready to live in self-pity. I didn't want people to tell me sorry. I wasn't ready to face the stigma. So I wanted to
mm.
raise children that are different. I wanted to be a single mother with a different. I didn't want that that stigma that is attached
That
to a single
label,
mother.
that
You know,
label. Mm,
People don't even believe until I say it. People don't believe that I'm single-handedly raising my 5 kids alone until I say it. And so I decided to, I already had a foundation, but it wasn't really as it is today. So when I came back,
right.
I I just said, okay, let me start from where I am at the moment. I went to the IDP camp. Then I usually teach on sexual and reproductive health. I know how to make reusable sanitary pads. So on one of those beautiful days, I went to the camp to, teach the women and girls at the camp how to make reusable sanitary pads. And I discovered that they had no school for the last 7 years. And the educator in me came alive. I was like, imagine these children after facing abuse, after being traumatized through the Boko Haram insurgency. Now there's no school. And then I decided to conduct a needs assessment. And that was that I built those 2 classrooms from the scratch myself. I built the 2 classrooms, though today we're using 3 classrooms. And I've been able to integrate 150 children back to formal education. This section, we had 10 children going to secondary school on fully funded scholarship by my organization. And then recently I met a young girl who was part of our tech boot camp. We trained 40 girls also in tech training during the summer. That was our first cohort. The next cohort will be in September again. So I'm actually big on advocacy for girls, and then I also use my platform to empower women. There are a lot of women who live in the IDP camp that also face abuse. So I don't want to look past that. I ensure that these women also have a voice. They cannot go through the trauma of insurgency and still go through the trauma of abuse. So I give them a platform to be able to lend their voice and ensure that I'm a bigger voice, telling them that if I could, they can also. So I met a little girl. She's been out of school since just 2021. She's been out of junior secondary school. And she met me recently that, Auntie, I would like to be a lawyer. I don't want to remain in the IDP camp. My parents will remain here if I don't go to school. But I believe that if I can get a proper education, I can become a lawyer. I took it upon myself and we registered her again. So I'm here to tell every woman out there that it's not difficult. There's a rod in your hand, like the other speakers have said. What is that thing that God has given to you? It could be talent, it could be a skill. Use it, think about it, meditate about it. God is going to give you an inspiration. And it's not just by thinking, it's by doing. When you have decided that this is what I want to do, take a step of faith. When I started the school, it was not rosy. It was tough. It was challenging. There were times I had to teach alone. I had to teach like 60 students alone. But gradually, I began to have staff. Like I have 6 staffs, 6 teachers right now, that I'm paying salary. And I can tell you that I'm not where I used to be. I'm not that wounded, depressed, broken woman anymore. I'm not that woman who is timid. And I also say, even when I left Egypt, Egypt did not leave me, like she said, because I had to move from 3 cities. I first lived in Kuje. When I heard my abuser is coming, I went to Lugbe. Eventually, I landed in Cuba. So I was moving from pillar to post until I found my voice. I officially got divorced on the 23rd of May this year. And I can see it's the best thing that has happened to me. Every woman out there that is going through one form of abuse or the other, I can tell you, you are strong. You are not to be blamed. You are not the reason why you're facing that abuse. Speak out. If you can speak out, there's somebody out there waiting to embrace you. There's somebody out there waiting to help you. If only you have the confidence and the courage to speak out. And I can tell every woman out there, there's more in you. There are a lot of things I wasn't doing because I was facing abuse, but I can say categorically now that I'm not afraid to face any mountain. If God has given me the ability to nurture my 5 kids, you can. It doesn't matter the number of people look like I have one. I look 18 actually, but I can tell you that you are worthy of love, you are worthy of care, and you are worthy of respect. So speak up. Somebody's out there to embrace you. Thank you.
Mrs. Monisola, I am grateful. I am grateful. I'm thankful that, you are here, that you came out and your voice resonates so powerfully and so strongly. And when I look at the work you're doing, and I remember your school, you didn't even mention that you have a feeding program, that those kids usually come to school hungry. And so you ensure that at least one meal a day. And all of this is self-funded. Some would think that, yes, 150 children. Some would think that it's already bad enough that I'm a single mother raising 5 children on my own. Like, I don't even have time for anybody else. Here you are now carrying 150 children, providing education for them, exposing them to things that perhaps in their lifetime they would not have that exposure to, and still feeding them. You are my hero. You are a superstar. You are a warrior. And I'm hoping that this video also gives your foundation more visibility, that people will reach out to us to say, how can we partner with her? We want to support her work. This is my prayer for you, for all that you're doing. I pray that God will bless you. He will increase you. He will honor you. Your
Amen.
best days are here. They are here. A time will come, you will look back and it will feel like, is this my life? Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank
Thank
you. Because you are a true epitome of what we say at the Women with Stories, that whatever you've gone through that didn't kill you has given you a cure. But we have to do the work to find that cure and bless the world with the gift of it. You are a living proof that it is possible to go through pain and to come out stronger. What didn't kill you has made you stronger, and you are here. You are still here. We see you. We celebrate you. We honor you. All our speakers tonight, I cannot even find the words to say thank you to everyone who came in and just poured their hearts out. I mean, we are entering almost 2 hours. And I know if we had to do an extra hour, the conversation will still be like it will still ongoing. And so I really, really thank you. I want to check the chat. Okay, yes, Tammy said you're a really strong woman. I mean, what a night, what a night, what a night. I just want to really thank everyone who has also stayed this long on YouTube as well. I still see people are live on YouTube. I see you, YouTube. I celebrate you all. Thank you so much for just showing up again. Uh, this is day 4. We have one more day. Tomorrow is our final session, and it's going to be power packed. We're starting earlier tomorrow. We're starting at 5 p.m. We're having a representative from the UN Women. We're having Mrs. Yemisi Nathaniel, my mentor, come in. We're hearing the legal perspective. We're also having conversations on funding, how organizations can perhaps, gain the kind of funds that will allow them to make a difference in the lives of more women. And I'm still hoping we get the police to come share their perspective as well, because it's such a big part of this conversation. Thank you to everyone who has made this week possible. Thank you to my team, everyone working behind the scenes. They're very long days. When I come in here at night, in the evening, I'm like, oh Lord, give me strength. But yes, I'm grateful for strength that I am also still here. So I'm celebrating myself as well tonight for still being here. And tomorrow, as we wrap it up, I'm truly excited for what is ahead. This was not how we intended this week to be. We wanted to lend our voice, but so many things have come out of every day, and for that I'm grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to say thank you even to all those who are watching on the replay. If you're watching on the replay and you got here, my goodness, you're the real MVP. And so that will be all for tonight. Thank you, Mrs. Monisola. I
thank
think
you for the
Tammy
opportunity.
is in the waiting room. Let me see if she can share a closing thought. Tammy, are you there? I saw her in the waiting room. Tammy, are you here? Okay, I don't see her again. Okay, I don't see her again. All right, so that's it. Thank you so much. My love to your babies and
Thank
all
you.
my babies in the school. I will come
Yeah.
soon. I will
Okay.
come soon before school closes. Thank you so much. Have
Thank
a
you
good
so
evening,
much.
everyone.